Hi, everybody. There is a saying that to whom much is given, much is expected. Today's video begins a series in charitable giving and how the IRS will help us to achieve those goals. And so let's dig right in. The first video is about private operating foundations, in particular about a private, what's known as a non-operating foundation. There are actually 4 types of private foundations that the IRS promulgates. There's the non-operating foundation, which is by far the most popular of them all, and I'll explain that later on. There's the private operating foundation that requires a much higher level of accountability. There's also something called the pass-through foundation that requires that all contributions be distributed annually. And finally, there's something called the corporate foundation, like the Ford Foundation, I guess you could say. Now, the non-operating foundations are simply means that any accumulated contributions have to be or should be distributed to other charitable organizations, in particular other 501c3 organizations. And there's just a myriad of those available, from synagogues to community centers to the Red Cross. It's unlimited. In fact, the non-operating foundation, as I mentioned, is so popular. The famous Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation is a non-operating foundation. And I think that to date they've distributed over $100 billion or some ridiculous number. Now also, the granddaddy of them all, the Rockefeller Foundation, is also a non-operating foundation. So it's a good thing to, it's just much easier to set up and to take care of. Now there are 2 ways that you can set up a non-operating foundation. The first is to set it up as a trust, or as a corporation, as an entity. Trusts are the favored method because trusts are much more private than corporations. Now, many people are confused about what is deductible and what isn't. So for private non-operating foundations, the donor can deduct for income tax purposes up to 30% of what's known as his modified adjusted gross income, which, if you look on your 1040, is AGI plus certain add-back-ins. So for cash contributions, the donor can deduct up to 30% of what's known as his MAGI, modified adjusted gross income. Anything above and beyond that can be carried forward 5 years. Now, for long-term appreciated assets, the threshold is 20% of modified adjusted gross income. And again, both the cash contributions and long-term assets can be carried forward 5 years. So there's a very good chance all of it is going to be deductible. Now, for estate tax purposes, anything you contribute to charity, I'm going to state the obvious. It comes out of your estate and reduces your estate tax footprint to that extent. Now, the IRS, as we know, are not foolish at all. And they've known for a long time that people utilize these charitable entities for abuse. And they've created what's known as the disqualified persons rule. Now, I just want to say one thing. Just because a person is disqualified as a person of interest doesn't mean that he's automatically done something wrong. So the disqualified persons are any major contributor to the trust, any trustee of the trust, anybody that works inside the trust, and interestingly enough and important, any corporation that an individual owns more than 20% of is disqualified. and their family members. Now let's just take a look at that last rule, the 20% equity rule. It means don't make equity contributions to this particular type of trust from your business. So if you own a business, keep it separate and you'll be okay. Now, moving forward, I'm going to show you a number of different tax favored regimens. Some of them include not only income tax deductions that are available and estate tax deductions, but also feature cash back to either the donor or the donor's family. Some of them are just fantastic and extremely popular. So those are forthcoming. Now, if you are interested in seeing more of what I've created, you can go to Morris J. Mizrahi LLC.com. There's a website out there with all sorts of very interesting planning ideas. You can always get in touch with me by email, Morris J. Mizrahi LLC.com, or you can call me anytime. I'm a very available guy. 732-580-5909. Thank you so much for your time. This is all just to help people, and I think I have some very good answers for people. Not all, but I think I have some very good ways of helping people. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.